A very good evening to you. You're just in time for KTN Sunday night. Such a pleasure to come to you, your homes or wherever you're watching us from this evening. I am Anki Guta. Also joining us tonight, KTN's Catherine Omwanto. Catherine, it's good to see you, but you come bearing unhappy news tonight.
Yes, I do. I have rather disturbing news. In the front of when it comes to accidents in the country, in the past 3 months, there have been 1,700 accidents and over 700 deaths in just 3 months.
In 3 months,
yes.
So which is shocking, and most of them due to human error?
Yes, yes. Negligence, carelessness, basically by pedestrians, by drivers, public service vehicle drivers. It's a sad affair.
And you know, all of this is in the wake of a lot of public awareness campaigns that we continuously run. Even here at KTN, we run quite a few of them. People just seem not to be paying attention, do you think?
I think it's lack of paying attention, and it's lack of not knowing that you have somebody else's life in your hands. And when you go out there, you have to think about that. And I don't think people think that. They think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. And it does.
Absolutely, it can. And it did happen to 6 Kenyans today who did lose their lives. We've got that story lined up for you, plus many others. Let's take a look at our top stories this Sunday evening. Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula finally jets into the country from Mali. 6 die, several injured in Limuru Road accident.
Tuache mambo ya kusema tunabeba watu ati alafu tunakwenda kusema tuungane pamoja. Alafu niulize ati nitasimama kwa chama gani?
Raila takes on Gema for endorsing Uhuru Kenyatta. Still in this bulletin, a notorious Nairobi robber and a mother in distress. That's on Case Files. Family and friends are heaving a sigh of relief this evening. Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula touched down in Nairobi amid dance and much celebration. The minister had until Saturday been stranded in Mali following a coup d'etat in the West African state. Friends and family and government officials gathered to welcome the minister, who took a Kenya Airways flight from Lagos. KTN's Edith Kimani will be joining us shortly with the details. Well, 6 people, including a child, died on the Nairobi-Naivasha highway in a gruesome accident that involved the matatu they were traveling in, a personal car and a bus. 8 others are said to be in critical condition, with 4 of them rushed to the Kenyatta National Hospital for further treatment.
Police and tow truck workers collecting what is left of yet another accident on our roads. According to eyewitnesses, the driver of a station wagon was attempting to make a U-turn on this narrow highway back to Nairobi. However, he miscalculated the speed at which a matatu was traveling in the same direction. The vehicles collided and the drivers of both lost control.
I just saw the mat rolling from up there. Then it came, crashed into our bus. That's all I can remember. Then I was so shocked. I didn't see anything more.
Tulikuwa tumefuata gari ndogo nyuma, lakini distance kidogo. Sasa hii gari ndogo ikafika pale, nikaona dereva kama anaenda upande wa right. Akarudi. Tena akarudi huko. Sasa vile alirudi huko, Nissan nayo ilikuwa imefika na ilikuwa kwa speed kidogo, akaikonga.
Niliona Nissan mbele imekaa imetani kwa barabara hivi. Sasa mimi naangalia kufocus poa. Naona Nissan ilikuwa inapingirika inakuja hivi.
5 men and a child died on the spot as the matatu rammed into a bus that was headed into Western Kenya. Those in the bus were not injured. 8 others were seriously injured. 4 of them were taken to Kenyatta National Hospital for further treatment, while the rest of the passengers of the matatu were taken to Tigoni Hospital.
We've attended to all 6. We've admitted 4 and referred, and we're going to refer 2 cases to Kenyatta.
According to the country's Deputy Traffic Commandant Samuel Kimaru, most accidents on Kenyan roads are caused by carelessness. Until drivers realize the gravity of negligence on our roads, road accidents will continue to take more lives. Catherine Omwando, KTN Sunday Night. Well, Kenya is known to have some of the worst accident statistics in the world. And despite efforts made by road accident campaigns, it doesn't seem that the message is getting home. Now, according to Deputy Traffic Commandant Samuel Kimaru, who spoke to KTN earlier today, in January, there had been a total of 1,726 road accidents. Out of these, over 600 were fatal and 800 were considered serious, and 250 were considered slight. Now, out of those 1,700 accidents, there were about 3,700 victims, and over 700 of this number died, while 1,790 were seriously injured, and a further 1,195 were slightly injured. Now, out of the 700 of those who were killed in accidents, 370 were pedestrians, 167 were passengers, and a further 72 were drivers, and 122 were either motorcyclists, pedecyclists, or passengers of either two. The total number of accidents has increased by 20 compared to the same period last year. And according to Kimaru, most accidents were caused by public service vehicles and careless pedestrians. Interestingly, the Nairobi Thika Superhighway has claimed 27 lives this year, all of whom were pedestrians. Drivers have been cautioned to be more careful on the roads and obey traffic rules, while pedestrians are urged to use designated crossing zones when crossing the road. Back to you, Ann Kiguta.
All right, thanks very much, Catherine, for that. Let's bring you up to speed with our top story. And Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula is back in the country. The minister had until Saturday been stranded in Mali following a coup d'etat in that country. KTN's Edith Kimani reports.
The distinct sounds of the Isukuti met all those arriving and leaving the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport arrivals terminus. As early as 5:30 p.m., media houses were all set for the arrival of the Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula, who was stranded in Mali following a military coup. A few minutes past 7, the much-awaited plane arrived. Wetangula's first sentiments were those of relief at having safely touched down in Kenya.
I want to thank the Almighty God for protecting us, for giving us strength to endure what we have gone through. Staying in a hotel room for as long as we have been is not an easy thing to do.
Efforts to fly out the Foreign Affairs Minister were thwarted earlier when a chartered plane expected to get him out of Mali was cancelled owing to poor weather. Wetangula had earlier given up his seat in a UN chartered plane to a fellow Kenyan. He, however, assured that plans are currently underway to extract the remaining Kenyans in Mali.
So all Kenyans who were with us in Bamako are actually in safe hands, and that is what predicated our acceptance to leave.
Wetangula also said that although Kenya enjoys the luxury of peace, the events of Mali should serve as a lesson to the country and indeed the entire African continent with regard to succession politics.
I want to say that Africa should mature. The days of coups are gone. It is highly regrettable and irresponsible for young, excited soldiers. As you can see, the team leader is a captain. That army has several generals. For young, excited soldiers to take guns and drive out elected governments out of office.
Wetangula came into the country with 5 other Kenyans who were stranded with him in Bamako. Mali's coup d'etat comes at a time when the country was just months away from a presidential election. Edith Kimani, KTN, Sunday Night.
Well, the Foreign Affairs Minister, as you've seen, is back in the country, and he has warmed the hearts of many yesterday when he gave up his seat on a UN-chartered plane so that another Kenyan could come back home from troubled Mali. This morning, KTN's Betty Kialo was at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport where she met Dr. Boniface Kaberia, and there couldn't possibly have been a man happier to be back home.
It was about 4:40 a.m. when we arrived at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Here we waited for one Dr. Boniface Kaberia, whom many describe as a lucky man. The plane from Abidjan that he was jetting into the country with was scheduled to touch down at about 5:15 a.m. A few minutes past 5:30 a.m., the man that we were eagerly waiting to meet walked out of the arrival doors. His expression, that of a happy man.
Oh, it's exciting, especially bearing in mind that when I was there was a lot of stress building up.
On asking how the situation in Mali was before he left, he told me that it was not any better than when the mutineering soldiers began the coup on Wednesday.
It's not very good, although it's calm in the streets. But there has been also a rumor that there's going to be some degree of exchanges between the rival armies.
I was curious, just like many, to know what really happened at the airport in Bamako, Mali's capital, that led to Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula giving up his seat and letting him come home.
Time of my departure, actually, we were quite a number in the lobby. I can't actually tell the number, but it was a surprise to me to just hear the minister announce that it's me who is leaving.
In his explanation, he shared with me something that Moses Wetangula will probably be remembered for in the years to come.
He said he's a captain, and as a captain, the captain is the last person to jump out of the ship. Anybody trying to evacuate him must negotiate for a plane that is going to take with him all the Kenyans he had with him.
He further shared with me that at the time when the coup began, he wanted to come back home so bad, considering that Mali was no longer safe even to foreigners.
The army had just come into the hotel, and there was a lot of tension in the hotel. Nobody knew what exactly they were doing. They went up into the rooms, and nobody knew. So there was tension, and everybody was in the lobby.
His prayers were answered when Wetangula gave him the seat. Actually, the UN chartered plane that was to evacuate the minister only had one seat, something that even makes his story unique in its own right. He told me that he left other Kenyans in the country and that plans were underway to get them evacuated. For KTN Sunday Night, I'm Betty Kialo.
All right, let's catch up with the politics. And Prime Minister Raila Odinga is tonight dismissing Gema's endorsement of Uhuru Kenyatta as its preferred presidential candidate, terming the grouping tribal. Well, speaking in his in Langata constituency and in Kibera, Raila says that he does not understand how the group could endorse Kenyatta, yet he's yet to declare on which party he will be running. Raila also says nobody knows what Uhuru stands for, as he is yet to make public his manifesto or his agenda for the country. Our senior political reporter Aruni Cheng now with the details.
Kibera's Kamukunji grounds was a venue where leaders allied to the Prime Minister pitched camp to rejuvenate ODM's quest to form the next government. It is here that leader after leader who took to the podium took issue with the recent Gema meeting that endorsed Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta to be the community's flag bearer in the coming general election.
Tuache mambo ya kusema tunabeba watu ati alafu tunakwenda kusema tuungane pamoja. Alafu niulize ati nitasimama kwa chama gani? Sasa hiyo ni nini?
Aseme pati yake atafute kura kwa Kenya. Na akisema nataka kutafuta kura kama Mkikuyu, basi sisi wengine wa Kenya tutampigia kura namna gani? Kwa maana mimi si Mkikuyu, mimi ni Mkisii.
Wewe chagua mwananchi ambaye ataangalia maslahi yako, mtu ambaye anaweza kuangalia mambo ya Kenya yote, mtu ambaye hana ukabila, mtu ambaye ataleta maendeleo ya kuamusha maisha kwa kila mtu.
Mnajua mimi ni Gema. Mimi sio ile Gema ya uongo. Mimi nataka mjue kwamba katika Gema pia kuna split ya Gema.
Hii grupu inajiita Gema ni grupu ya wale watu walimaliza hii nchi. Na hata saa hii hata wakisema mambo ya uhuru, watu wakipigania hii nchi, uhuru alikuwa wapi?
The Prime Minister also used the occasion to declare that ODM has now started aggressive nationwide campaigns, saying it's the only party with a national outlook whose agenda will improve the lives of Kenyans.
20 hiyo ndio ile kesho nilikuwa nasema wakati ile.
Na sasa ndio tumeanza mambo yetu ya ODM. Siku ile tulikuwa tunawaachia watembee tu sisi tukiangalia.
these people are the ones who will take you to State House. Wacha Kibaki akae na hiyo endorsement yake hata hatutaki.
The PM also took the opportunity to condemn recent violence at the Nyayo National Stadium when Gor Mahia fans went rowdy after one of their players was red-carded.
Usipige referee na mawe. Hiyo ni hasira ambayo haina maana. Leo unashindwa, kesho utashinda.
The rally was also attended by Uganda's ruling party NRM official Mike Mukula, sent by Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. Aaron Ocheng, KTN, Sunday night.
Well, a police officer who was detained last evening after he stopped a senior police boss for allegedly breaking traffic rules was released early today. According to Senior Deputy Traffic Commandant Samuel Kimaru, investigations are underway. Here now is Angel Katusia with that report.
Sunday morning, and police officer Alfred Juma is set free with no charges preferred against him. The junior police officer was detained at the Industrial Area Police Station, allegedly on the orders of a top police boss by the name Wilfred Mbithi, who had been stopped for what was termed as traffic offences. The incident elicited many questions on how the junior police officer was handled, raising serious concerns of the nature of relations between senior and junior policemen. Police regulations prohibit detention of officers in their full uniform. Therefore, questions beg if indeed the junior officer had committed an offence, where was he detained in his force uniform? According to Senior Deputy Traffic Commandant Samuel Kimaru, investigations into the incident are ongoing.
Sasa hiyo uchunguzi itatuonyesha sasa makosa ilikuwa wapi. Na hatua itachukuliwa kule ndani kwa polisi. Usikuwe na wasiwasi, kuna hatua mingi zinachukuliwa.
However, Kimaru says initial reports indicate that the junior officer insulted his senior. He, however, did not rule out that the junior officer could as well have been a victim of harassment and intimidation. Despite being released, Juma is a worried man, fearing that he may lose his job. Kimaru says this will not happen and that justice will be served without discrimination.
This is a case of two officers we are going to investigate and get to the bottom of what happened. If the junior officers really used this in subordinate language, we are going to take some disciplinary action. If the case, the investigation will prove that this officer did not use the insulting language, and it is the fault is on the senior officers, there is also remedies to be undertaken against the senior officer.
In the latest report by the Anand monitoring team, the police force was termed to be the worst in embracing reforms. The new constitution stipulates the formation of the Police Service Commission to handle, among other issues, cases such as this. For KTN Sunday Night, I'm Angel Katusia.
A petition to the ICC by the Gema community seeking to defer Uhuru Kenyatta's case until after Kenya elects her next president is a tall order. Experts in international law say that the process of deferring a case before the ICC would be no easy task, as the government would have to engage the United Nations Security Council. Asha Mulu reports.
When leaders from the Gema communities met in Limuru last Friday, their grand resolution was that they would collect 2 million signatures before petitioning the UN and the ICC to postpone the trials against two of their own, particularly that of Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta, until after the general elections are held.
We shall equally treat the ICC case as political affront to our sovereignty.
International law experts say that this move, based on legal grounds, will be impossible to fulfill. Justice Minister Mutula Kilonzo criticizes the move, citing that international peace and security jurisprudence and conventions like the Rome Statute are designed against such ethnic drivel. LSK chairperson says that the international community cannot endorse such a move because it lacks legal grounds.
The International Criminal Court is bound by rules and procedures. And the rules and procedures are to the effect that once the proceedings begin, we cannot come up with flimsy reasons. And if there is a reason as to why they should defer their proceedings, then that reason must be confined within the rules and procedures of the ICC.
According to the provisions of the Rome Statute, only the United Nations Security Council can defer a case of the ICC, asking that the case not be investigated or prosecution to begin for a period of 12 months. But experts say that what should be of greater concern to Uhuru is the implication that this meeting, which was attended by the former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga, would have to the charges he is facing at the ICC.
Uhuru's case is predominantly based on retaliatory attacks with the intention of protecting his own here referring to the Gema community or members of the Kikuyu community. Now, with them coming up openly to defend Uhuru Kenyatta, there is a strong indication that they would go an extra mile. If the ICC would want to interpret it that way, they would even interpret that these people may go an extra mile to interfere with the proceedings of the ICC, and thereby they may decide, the ICC may decide, of course, to issue arrest warrant.
But even as analysts ponder on the effects of the tribal-based political affiliation, divided opinions are now emerging, with Eldoret's Catholic Bishop Cornelius Korir lauding the Gema meeting as a good example of how to bring Kenyans together.
Kama tunataka nchi yetu kuwa kitu kimoja, lazima kuungane pamoja.
They are now trying to show or to prove to Kenyans that this is now becoming a tribal thing, something that Kenyans want to move away from. If I were Uhuru Kenyatta personally, I would want to associate myself with national citizenship as opposed to tribal enclaves.
With the Gema petition stirring debate on the country's presidency vis-à-vis the pending cases at the ICC, Kenyans remain observant on how this petition will affect the ICC process as well as the next polls. Asha Mwilu, KTN, Sunday Night Live.
Former President Daniel Arap Moi has challenged teachers to update their students on the latest market approaches and technological advances in preparation for their respective careers. Speaking during the 30th anniversary of Sacho High School in Baringo County, Moi encouraged education stakeholders to aim to prepare their students for more than the traditional career opportunities.
Moi had joined students, teachers, families and friends of Sacho High School in marking 30th anniversary of the school. It is here that he challenged teachers to update students on the latest disciplines and technologies based on market needs.
So that you will find the good courses at universities.
Moi raised his concerns, saying students are missing on new career opportunities as education stakeholders still cling on traditional career choices. The former president said students should be made more aware of the latest courses in engineering, technology, building science, among others, so as to make informed career choices.
I want those teachers charged with careers to encourage students to aim at the highest mark and to select competitive career courses at university.
Top students in last year's KCSE were honored in the ceremony. Moi challenged the rest of the students to uphold the school's tradition of excellence. He, however, underscored the importance of discipline.
The students should set high standards and aim at the highest points and should not be contented with merely qualifying for university.
Your Excellency, sir, you are sponsoring through the Sacho Endowment Fund 14 students, and out of the 14, 2 of them scored A plane.
Led by the school principal, Richard Muindi, the institution gave Moi a lion sculpture as their gift in recognition for the work the former president has done for the institution for the last 30 years. Zipporah Karani, reporting from the county of Nakuru.
Well, it brought down the Egyptian government in 2011 and just threw the Middle East in crisis. Social media has taken the globe by storm, especially the youth who see it as a place to freely air their opinions. But in Kenya, some say it's being used to propagate negative ethnicity. So where do we draw the line? KTN's Catherine Omwantho takes a look back at last week's Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards match at the Nyayo National Stadium and how it unearthed the fact that tribalism is still a major reality in Kenya, especially especially among the youth.
We are back into the game here.
On Sunday, the 18th of March, football arch-rivals Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards met on the pitch of Nyayo Stadium. Chaos was soon to follow. Halfway through the match, Gor Mahia fans started throwing stones at those in the pitch, and later they took their fight to the streets. A clear case of football hooliganism, which is not unique to Kenya. However, with the two teams largely representing ethnic pride, the ugly confrontation also turned tribal. This event sent social media into a frenzy. The fact that AFC Leopards and Gor Mahia football clubs command fans from different communities contributed to the references of ethnic stereotypes in comments, status updates and blogs.
I start singing about the ethnic group to which you belong and generalizing your personal character and behavior, whether they are bad or so, to mean them, then that is negative ethnicity.
Many of the comments made on Twitter right after the match made generalizations about the ethnicity and nature of Gor Mahia supporters. While some were offended by the tribal talk, others felt the observation was not far from the mark. Among Facebook fans of the Standard's Crazy Monday pullout, the botched AFC and Gor Mahia derby turned political. A Moses Kamau wondered if this community can't be patient for 90 minutes. Will they be patient for 5 years if given the presidency? These remarks may seem like innocent fun and jokes, but they are a clear indication that all is not well, especially as we head into the next general elections.
Social media is not an island of its own. It's usually linked to many other activities and events in the country. The speeches I make on a podium will be used by 1 million people to interpret into various meanings.
Newspapers, television and radio can be controlled because before information is given to the audience, it goes through various checks and balances in forms of gateways known as editors or producers. But social media gives information to the audience in its purest form, and this could be detrimental to the country's security, given that unfortunately when it comes to negative ethnicity, social media cannot be controlled.
The globally acclaimed freedom of speech situation, whereby you can make your own free statement out of your own free will, and anybody who speaks with a lot of security-based tone to control you is always accused of infringing on your freedom of speech.
So next time, if a match is played or a politician utters words against a certain community,
charity begins at home. The responsibility is on each Kenyan in this case. The problem is where that freedom is not handled with responsibility, and where that freedom also does not show any kind of a boundary.
It's a matter of see no evil, hear no evil. No matter how funny a picture may be to you, it may not be the case for someone else. No matter what a leader says, think about it critically before regurgitating an issue. Catherine Omwando, KTN Sunday Night.
All right, time for us to take a break. When we return, Money and Power, we're focusing on Housing Finance MD Frank Ireri. You don't want to miss it. Keep it here on KTN Sunday Night.
Africa Real Estate and Housing Finance Academy Awards will discover and celebrate excellence in real estate and housing finance in Africa. Join us for a networking and business-to-business cocktail on the 29th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. A full-day conference on 30th March featuring local and international speakers from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And later, an awards gala dinner from 7 p.m. to midnight. Register now to be a part of these great events. For inquiries, call Lydia on +254 707 922 445 or visit www.rfacademy.org. Nominations deadline for the awards has been extended to 17th March 2012. For sponsorship, participation and registration, visit www.rfacademy.org or email info@rfacademy.org for more details. RF Academy Awards 2012, Discovering and Celebrating Excellence, 29th to 30th March 2012 in Nairobi, Kenya.
Natural beer, sugar-free, truly Kenyan.
2,500 kilometers, 5 pickups, 1 ton. Don't miss the Nissan Challenge every day from next Monday at 8:30 p.m. right here on KTN. The Nissan Challenge. Get ready for the ride of your life.
From 29th March to 1st of April, come see how pros from all over the world do it at the 2012 Barclays Kenya Open at the esteemed Muthaiga Golf Club. Tickets available at Karen Golf and Country Club, Kenya Golf Union, Muthaiga Golf Club from 22nd March to 28th March, and at the gate from the 29th of March. Don't miss one of the most prestigious tournaments in Africa. Barclays Kenya Open 2012.
Olicid Classic nets are intelligently formulated with the insecticide incorporated into the fiber of the net, allowing it to repel and kill mosquitoes for up to 5 years.
See, it's boring. No, this time I'm leading a smaller group and I want you to know the importance of being educated when you're doing any job.
Can't I just be educated in the swimming pool?
So now what do I do with my clients?
Your clients?
Yeah, but maybe I got some business like this. So see, I can go now, eh? No! Hello, what's wrong with you?
What about you, Rafiki?
What?
Your parents, are they like still together? Am I like speaking too fast?
No.
Oh.
The thing is, there are some things that are just not spoken of in public transport conversation.
Providing you and your loved ones a peaceful night's sleep. The world's first World Health Organization fully recommended mosquito nets.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Sunday Night. Tonight on Case Files, prison walls separate mother and son. The mother believes her son was wrongly convicted and wants to see him as she approaches 100 years old. Her son says he regrets a life of crime. Here now is KTN's crime and investigations reporter Dennis Onsarigo with our weekly TV crime series, Case Files.
She is 90 years old and the son is 40 years old. The last time she saw him was 24 years ago. The story of a gangster and a mother who is waiting for the son. The state versus Francis Wambura and others. This is Case Files.
Agustino Njoroge Ridho anajulikana sana. Hata ukienda umtaje pale penge paka kwa serikali anajulikana. Mimi nilikuwa mkubwa wake. Yaani nilikuwa komanda wa hiyo chama. Na hakuna askari Kenya amewahi kunishika akakosa madaraka. Nimeshikwa wa kwanza walipewa na hao wa pili walipewa. Nikasema na watatu wakinishika wataning'ang'ania wataniua. Nikaita watu wa robbery mpaka huyo Njoroge sababu alikuwa ameletwa Agustino Njoroge Ridho, nikawaketea chini watu wa robbery, nikawaambia wenzangu silikuwa nimesema nitawacha robbery, nimewacha sasa nikiwa gerezani. Majembe yote nimeweka chini, sitarudia robbery tena. Wewe Njoroge, tufanye hivi. Si uko na pesa, uko na milioni 4 benki, okoka. Njoroge alikataa na akawa adui yangu. Lakini wakati alitoka hakumaliza miezi 6. Yake ikaisha hivyo, nikaletewa ripoti. Kwanza alichomwa.
How are you? Fine. When you met Lucy Wamboi, who is now almost 100 years old, her jovial mood, grin and a hearty handshake can hardly betray her inner emotional drain. Her husband passed on more than 24 years ago. At the time, Lucy in her early 50s with 4 children. Among them was her only son, Francis Mwangi Wambura. Wambura at the time worked in a private company in Nairobi. The mother says she knew the son as a God-fearing child, but that changed in April 1988.
Ndio ndaigire ni anyitwo ri nie reciria riakwa rieciririe riu hagioka andu angitukirwo ni manyitanirio nao anake no acio ni makirikirio tene muno riu twerwo mena anake acio ri ngioka ngiyirwo ni ene mwana anake acio tugitwathire na nginya kamiti.
At the time, Lucy says she could afford to see the son in jail. The distance between Murang'a and Nairobi was not that big, but when the son was jailed for life 12 years ago was the last time she saw him. When case files visited Francis Wambura's mother in Kirwara in Gitanga, she was an elected person, but the strong arm of the law cannot allow Francis Wambura to be a free man. At Kibos Maximum Security Prison is a man known to hundreds here as Shepherd. Francis Wambura says he was the most sought after gangster of the 80s.
Mimi sikuwa mzuri. Hakuna mtu mwahi kuangaliana hivi tunaangaliana na wewe. And I was very polite. Na nilikuwa naandikisha baka watu kazi sababu niko na pesa najua na watu wakubwa. That's what I was dangerous.
Francis was part of a 6-member gang that terrorized coffee farmers in central Kenya, Asian business community in Nairobi, and many others. The 6 used to work as professionals in a private company, and at the same time they were in a crime office right in the central business district.
Mwendo sasa wa saa 4:30 hapo nikaingia kwa ofisi ile tulikuwa naye watu wa robbery, nikaenda nikabadilisha bunduki, nikachukua ile ya kazi sasa, nikawacha ile nilikuwa natembea naye. Hiyo ilikuwa kutembea, ilikuwa Seska .38. Nikaiwacha. Alafu nikachukua hiyo bunduki nyingine, lakini secretary aliniambia hapana. Shepherd, usibebe bunduki. Unaenda wapi? Kumwambia wacha niende, labda sasa ndiye kufunga kazi.
The robbery that could later land him in jail was along Mwindimbingu Street. At the time, hardware stores were a commonplace in the CBD. A police officer responded to a distress call, paints the picture moments after the robbery. I was at Jamii Mosque Clinic when I heard gunshots. I stood at the window and I could see a person armed with a gun. We ran towards the scene but the gang sped off. We trailed them. They got stuck in traffic. They came out and started shooting at us.
Vile tuliingia ndani tukafungua safe, pesa ikatolewa, sikaenda na grupu ya kwanza watatu, sisi watatu kabaki, tukatoka nje vile tunatokaga in trips. Sasa hiyo ndio mimi napigana niende niingie. Yule alikuwa kwa escort, ni kama alisikia uoga. Nikaenda kufika hapo, kapiga gari moto ikaenda. Sasa nikabaki na vita ya watu wa Nairobi. Maaskari na raia na watchman. Naona Florida. Sasa hao watchman wasa watokea na marungu. Bunduki yangu ikaisha risasi. Ikawa sasa nifamiwe. Yes. Niliita Black Sunday vile niliona.
The man that arrested was Francis Wambura. 2 other gangsters managed to sneak away. By the time he was arrested, Francis says he had been involved in several criminal incidents, but in all of those incidents he managed to get away. Francis claims his gang had managed to thrive thanks to their connections to a network of rogue police officers.
Isipokuwa tutake tuwaelezea hiyo tumewaamini sana pahali tutaenda. Hawawezi wakatu double cross. Sasa tunawaelezea siku fulani tutaenda pahali fulani. Na mkuja tuende, wanakuja, tunaenda, wanaangalia. Ikiwa wanajua na askari yule kwa patrol area hiyo, wanatuunganisha. Ikiwa italete shida, wanatuelezea. Siku hiyo ikifika ya kufanya robbery, wanaleta bunduki. Kama sisi tulikuwa tunapenda Browning na machine gun sana. Tunataka AK hapana.
Looking back, Francis says there is nothing to write home about his life. He has been in jail for close to 30 years now. Shepherd was jailed for life for shooting and injuring a man of Asian origin in April 1988 robbery in the city center.
Sijawahi elekeza mtu bunduki hivi nikamuua. Bunduki si ya kuua. Bunduki ni ya kutafuta pesa. I was not violent. Even my colleagues were not violent. What we needed is only money. Nakumbuka hata tulienda kwa msugu mmoja, alituambia shoot. Tukashoot kwa hewa. Nasema oh real gun. Katoa pesa akatupa. Hakuna kitu kingine tunataka. Na hakuna kitu tutaguza. Maisha matamu kwere.
As a young robber, Shepherd says he brushed shoulders with senior police officers.
Ukinichokoza hata tupigane vita gani, siwezi chomoa hiyo bunduki. Nikijulikana nilichomolea mtu bunduki, kuuawa. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa sheria yetu. Mtu nilikuwa right kuchomolea bunduki ni askari akinihanda. Mara mingi tulikuwa tunahandwa, akishanihanda anachomoa bunduki na piga juu, sio nimpige anatoroka. Sisi tunaenda zetu.
The house he built for his family is now home to the mother. She has no one to look after her. She wants her son back, even if it means for a day.
Maria tio. Are njiarite thutha wake. Riu ni akuru marathi mainamiriirie utani. Na ndikariganirwo na ndingiriganirwo ni ona ingitura na ingimuona ndaigua ngenete muno na Ngai athondeke horo ucio wangire tondu ndioi ona ndioi.
The aging mother spends most of her time out in the sun. Every time she's told someone is coming to visit her, the first thing she asks, "Are you coming with my son?" For now her son is not coming home. She says she cannot travel to Kisumu to see him. She has no means. The son who was last home in April 1988 is a permanent guest at Kibos Maximum Security Prison. All the mother can do now is wait. But for how long? Every time they committed crimes, they left behind rape victims and death. The story of 3 men who reigned terror in at least 10 districts in the country. Denson Sarigo, for Case Files.
Case Files returns next Sunday. Time for money and power. You know him as a strict manager within the property industry, a man whose professional career has spanned through human resource management, accounting, finance and banking. On today's Money and Power segment, though, KTN's Zawadi Mudibo gives us the flip side of none other than Housing Finance Corporation Managing Director Frank Ireri.
He was born 50 years ago in the United States of America, where he spent his early childhood before his parents returned him home. This saw him join Nairobi Primary School and qualifying to join Alliance Boys High School and later the University of Nairobi to undertake a bachelor's degree in commerce accounting option.
Then spent my first 4 years working with accounting firms, qualifying as a CPA, and really got into banking 23 years ago with Citibank.
With the professional cut out for him in the banking sector, it seems like Frank has been through most departments in a bank.
I then joined Commercial Bank of Africa as General Manager, Finance and Operations, which again sort of combined everything I'd done in Citibank. And then was recruited to join Barclays Africa actually, as a regional service delivery director. So that was looking after Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, Egypt, Mauritius and Seychelles in all operations and IT matters for those countries.
That was banking his dream job as a child, having grown through it.
When I was a small boy and as young as Form 2, Form 3, I knew I wanted to be an accountant. I loved maths. I had a few older friends who had finished 4th Form and gone straight to Strathmore to do their CPAs and wanted a path like that. But my father was very clear, and also being the firstborn and being the son of an academic, that I was definitely going to have to get a degree before I thought of working.
In over 2 decades as a banker, Frank says responsibilities on him as head of operations at Barclaycard Africa has been his most challenging task so far.
We had a lot of challenges, especially in terms of the systems and reconciling the daily items, paying the various acquirers. So, everywhere where you can run your machine, whether it's in a Nakumat shop, at a petrol station, those are all the acquirers who expect to be paid on a daily basis for whatever credit they have extended. So we have big issues in terms of reconciliation and being able to pay on time.
And as difficult as the moments were, he managed to survive through it. It was here that his new role at Housing Finance came through.
The Housing Finance opportunity came, and I was headhunted for it. I wasn't looking for it, and I felt the timing was right.
A dedicated family man, Frank got married 17 years ago. He is blessed with 2 daughters, Wangeshi and Gathoni, aged 14 and 12 respectively, none of whom he believes will follow his career path. So who was Frank Ireri as a young man?
There was a time in school, and I think we were in Form 3. We decided with a group of friends to grease out of school to attend the Nairobi show. And not only were we busted coming back, but also we had gone out without school uniform. So basically 2 crimes in one. And we were really punished by having to do gardening in one of the common grounds for a whole day. So the whole school saw us being punished. So not only regrettable, but also very embarrassing.
It is a past he wouldn't wish any young man to emulate, as he says young people should stay focused in growing their careers.
So hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll still see myself within the property, within the property industry, but probably doing something myself within that sort of area. Yeah, maybe some form of consulting.
Outside the office, Frank is an avid golfer. In fact, one of the directors at the prestigious Windsor Golf and Country Club, where he also goes to keep fit. He also loves sporting activities like motor racing and is an avid Arsenal Football Club fan.
Still going strong. But it's a team that can give you heart attacks. Yeah, they're very up and down, and down.
Very strong.
It's very true. Very, very, very true. Otherwise you can get a heart problem. Yeah.
And as we depart, he insists.
The other thing I always encourage people also and constantly remind people is not always to try and have your dream house as your first home. That is what makes things very difficult. But if you're humble enough and start off with a small home somewhere that's in an affordable area, as you progress in your career, then you can be able to buy another home. You can either sell that one to buy another home, or keep that one for rental and continue moving up the ladder towards the time you get to your dream home. Mm-hmm.
Reporting for KTN's Money and Power, I'm Zawadi Mudibo.
We're taking a quick breather. When we return, all the sporting action. Stay with us.
Let me assure our traffic officers that there is no panicking, or there is no cause of alarm. That was a case of 2 officers, colleagues who are working together within the Nairobi area. And these are cases within for our own officers, whereby we have systems to check and really confirm.
%50 of people with sensitivity do nothing about it. What they tend to seek is immediate treatment. I recommend Sensodyne Rapid Action. There's a very simple test you can carry out at home. Grab a little bit, rub it on the area that's causing the sensitivity, and in 60 seconds you can see that the sensitivity that you previously experienced is now gone. Using Sensodyne Rapid Action on a continuous basis helps prevent sensitivity in long term. It's an everyday toothpaste with a bit of an oomph.
Je, unapenda na kuelewa vyema kabumbu? Basi chukua mic. Bonga boli katika ulimwengu wako wa mabingwa Supersport. Kwa maelezo zaidi nenda katika mtandao ufungue supersports.com na huenda ukawa mtangazaji wetu wa mechi zijazo KPL. Bonga boli katika ulimwengu wako wa mabingwa Supersport.
Shinda na KTN 5151.
I believed I would win something.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether it will be a TV or what.
Okay. How are you feeling now?
Very happy, man. If you are feeling now for trainer, you will see what I have seen.
All right.
Leo nimejishindia Blackberry. Najisikia mzuri sana, nimefurahi kabisa. Nitaendelea kabisa kwa sababu najua kuna 5 million inakuja. Sasa nitatia bidii kabisa.
Shinda na KTN 5151. Terms and conditions apply.
Polycid Classic nets are intelligently formulated with the insecticide incorporated into the fiber of the net, allowing it to repel and kill mosquitoes for up to 5 years.
Walisema ilikuwa ni kanza tu. So everything is crystal clear kabisa. Nani amesema?
Let me go. You don't know anything. Niache. Who is my lawyer? I'm not going anywhere.
It is difficult for anyone to lose a father. Even you, a public figure. It is difficult. And it's the best way to deal with these accusations.
Sijakula chochote kutoka ile matanga. Lakini mheshimiwa, sio ni waru. Ni chips. Nile kujikumbusha tu.
You don't even know that woman. Monica, she's a murderer.
Excuse me, sir. I'm with the Z42 network and we're interested in what you have to say.
I'm not talking to you people.
Providing you and your loved ones a peaceful night's sleep. The world's first World Health Organization fully recommended mosquito nets.
This is Travel Diaries, your ultimate travel guide to experience Kenya, one adventure after another. Discover the beauty that is Kenya.
Tangu chuo kikuu alipogundua kipaji chake cha kuigiza, Ken Ambani, wengi wakimfahamu kama Baraza, ameweza kupeperusha bendera ya Kenya na kuwa mcheza filamu bora kote ulimwenguni.
Watu wengi hivi sasa wanaishi maisha yao kama wasanii tu.
Kwa mengi zaidi kumuhusu, jiunge nami Peter Adams Jumatatu hii katika Darubini.